So we got to wrap up the WWE 2024 draft. I already covered the night one on SmackDown. That was a pretty bad show. Not much happened. This Raw show was a little bit better. I mean, the matches weren't anything to write home about. There's a decent Gunther and Xavier Woods match. Then there's like a sub 8-minute Intercontinental title match that ended in DQ. The bad Candice LeRae, Maxine Dupree feud. Liv Morgan, Nia Jax had a bad match. Awesome Truth and Alpha Academy had a sub 2-minute tag team title match, and the main event was a 2014 Raw special. So there was nothing really to talk about match-wise. It was more so about the draft, and I saw some discussion like around the coverage of this WWE draft in general. Like people don't really like do mock drafts and things for this, right? Like they're not, people aren't sitting there and being like pounding the table like, oh God, I really hope that Raw gets Tiffany Stratton. They missed her. Like people don't actually do that, right? Like, or do they do mock drafts and stuff? Like, this can't be covered like the NFL or NBA draft. Like, I know this is kind of based around that, but like they're just entirely different. Like, this format just does not work in my opinion. It's not super exciting. It's just the format for it when there's two shows and nobody has a favorite team. Like, the reason that people stick around for the NFL draft and why people like it is because they have their own rooting interest in their favorite teams and stuff. And like these, who cares who goes to Raw and SmackDown? Like, they're all going to be in the same type of show regardless. Like the two shows don't feel crazily different. So I mean, I don't know. I don't really think this format works. I think it's just like a ratings move. I mean, it is what it is. If it works for some people, I mean, these two shows didn't seem like they were highly rated. I know the SmackDown was universally panned. This Raw, people like it a little bit better, but I mean, it still wasn't like a good show in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I really don't think people need to be breaking down. You can't apply logic to this draft. It's like if you try and break down the AEW title rankings, like they're both useless. Like they both mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. So on Raw, there were 6 rounds, 4 picks apiece in each round. Round 1 was Imperium for Raw. They were already on Raw. They're staying. The second pick was Jade Cargill to SmackDown, already on SmackDown. Nick Aldis was fist pumping though. He was fired up. JBL was really happy. Damage Control went 3rd overall to Raw. Michael Cole said that this is a coup for Raw. Oh my! And then the 4th pick was Kevin Owens, already on SmackDown. And then round 2, CM Punk was the first pick. Don't really know how this makes sense. He's already on Raw, and I thought he was injured. I thought there were exceptions for injured people, but Seth Rollins got picked on SmackDown, so I guess it only matters when it's convenient for the draft. I mean, the Pride got picked 2nd in the 2nd round, already on SmackDown. Raw picked Braun Strowman 3rd in the 2nd round. That was a return. It was reported like earlier in the day. And then Tiffany Stratton got drafted 4th in the 2nd round for her to go back to SmackDown. So, I mean, nothing really changed here. It was just Strowman returning and going to Raw. I don't know why people are like, I mean, he can be a decent mid-carder, but like people acting like this guy coming back is like some big deal. I wouldn't really, I don't know. They tried a few years ago, and it's not like he really became anything special. Like he's a decent guy, but I mean, like to have on the roster. But 3rd round, first pick, LWO went to Raw. For some reason, Carlito got drafted with the LWO. I don't know if they didn't file the paperwork in time, or I mean, again, logically, it's just because they want to continue the feud on Raw, but non-kayfabe. Kayfabe-wise, it makes no sense. Carlito should be on his own. He's clearly not in the LWO anymore. Second pick of the 3rd round was Legado del Fantasma. They were already on SmackDown, so they're breaking up the LWO and their feud, which is good. 303, Drew McIntyre already on Raw. Again, logically, how could you ever explain that Drew McIntyre went in the 3rd round? I mean, the fucking Pride went 202, Braun Strowman 203. Like, it just makes no sense. I mean, even like somebody like Jade Cargill. I mean, she was the 2nd pick of the 1st round, and she's had what, 1 match, 2 matches if you count the Rumble. Like, I mean, Drew McIntyre is sandwiched between Legado del Fantasma and Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, they're absolute jobbers. Like, I mean, I know they're doing a storyline with it, but again, you can't apply any logic to these drafts. Yeah, so Shinsuke Nakamura, 3rd round, 4th pick, drafted to SmackDown, so he's going from Raw to SmackDown. 4th round, first pick, Judgment Day, already on Raw. 4th round, 2nd pick, Naomi, already on SmackDown. The 403 was Ilya Dragunov, NXT to Raw, and that was a good pick. I mean, I guess it was a good pick. Any way to get more Ilya on the main roster is a good pick in my opinion. I think it's interesting that they want to keep him on the same show as Imperium. I think that probably makes sense. Some people seem to think that that's the direction they're going in with him being the new member. I don't know how this... The 404 was Chelsea Green and Piper Niven drafted to SmackDown. This was probably one of the funnier graphics that popped up. It said their graphic said, and I quote, "unlimited potential for success," end quote, which essentially means we ran out of things to say on the graphic, and we didn't want to be like rude and not have the same amount of graphic points for them. So unlimited potential for success, whatever that means. Maybe Nick Aldis scouted that and put it down. 5th round, first pick, The New Day, already on Raw. 502 was pretty deadly, already on SmackDown. 503 was another NXT spot. Lyra Valkyria is going to Raw. This was a cool moment. She was pretty emotional, and apparently they don't tell the NXT people that they're going to get picked, so she was clearly surprised by it. She'll add some good depth to the Raw division. I don't really have any confidence that she's ever really going to get over to that next level. She's probably just going to be middling around the mid-card. I'm really not confident. I think she's good in the ring, but her character and her ability to get over, I'm not really super confident in. Even against Roxanne Perez at the last NXT event, she struggled to be cheered as the face against Roxanne the heel. So, but yeah, that should add some depth and some good in-ring quality to their division. And then the 504 was Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. I think that breaks up the never-ending Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell and Maxine Dupree feud, which was absolute dog shit. Probably contender for worst feud of the year, worst segment of the year, when she yelled at her and did that terrible acting, and then Maxine got kicked in the face and pinned. I mean, imagine burying these guys in the 6th round. I mean, they got picked after Pretty Deadly and Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. The 6th round, the first pick was The Final Testament. They're going to Raw. The 602 is DIY. They're going to SmackDown. Bronson Reed is the 603, already on Raw, which I feel like he should have been picked higher too, but whatever. And then the 604 was Blair Davenport, NXT, coming up to SmackDown. Again, she's also gonna provide some good depth on SmackDown. The graphic said like she has gothic charisma, or maybe it was like goth charisma or something, and it was like, God, that's not off to a good start. That's Pat McAfee was even making fun of it, but yeah, they also had some like not developmental, but supplemental picks, and I don't really I looked at them for the first round. I don't really care about this round. Who cares? They'll be where they're gonna go. I mean, it is what it is. But I do think the overall larger point is that this draft format just does not work for a compelling television show for WWE. Like I hope people don't hype this up anymore each year, because it like never delivers. I mean, there was some movement, but overall the importance of the movement, I mean, does it really matter much? I mean, the main people stayed on the shows they're going to be. The champions stay on the show they're going to be. I really don't think it's a big deal. I think they need to either come up with a new format or make it somehow more interesting, or maybe actually apply some logic to these picks, because they really aren't in this. But yeah, I do think that overall the rosters look pretty good for the most part. There were some call-ups that maybe some people expected, but there were some surprises at least, even if they're not the best in the ring, like Kiana James. I mean, I don't know why she's getting called up, but I think I'm pretty easily most excited for Ilya Dragunov to come up on the main roster. I mean, he's got some good potential matchups coming up, and just guys he can go with on the roster like Sheamus, McIntyre, Rollins, Punk if he gets healthy, all those type of guys. So yeah, Dragunov's easily the most one I'm excited for. Also, another thing, I really thought it was super funny how Lexus King kept trying to make himself get over on the camera angles whenever they went to the people in NXT cheering, the people getting called up to Raw and SmackDown. He kept like standing on chairs and like making goofy faces, and he was just trying to get attention, and they kept making the camera go away from him. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I should be recording a Backlash preview coming up soon, and that'll be out before the show. Till that, I'll talk to you all later. Bye.